Hello dear friends and net aspirants, welcome back to High Point again. In this video we are going to learn about a predominant deconstructionist known as Jacques Derrida, who lived from 1930 to 2004. We have already done an introductory video about deconstruction. If you have missed that, go and watch it. The link to the video is there in the I button. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to it and follow me on Instagram. Before beginning the video, let me tell you the NetJRF course for English paper 2 that we are providing in our website www.highpoint.in. You can log into or visit to my website and have the free trial and see what we have provided there. You can see the entire 900 plus audio lectures divided under 11 topics and 300 PDF downloadable PDF materials and 3000 plus questions which are lively attemptable there. And also we are giving 15% off in the courses and along with the free bonuses to our student such as weekly test and personalized study guideline. You can contact in this number or use the Instagram ID to reach out to me. Okay, do visit my website. Even if you are studying on your own, visit to my website will help you to know what you have to study one by one in order to cover the entire syllabus of NTA UGC NET JRF English Language and Literature. So don't waste your time in digging the study materials. You can invest that in the covering and revising the entire material. So don't waste your time by waiting for the next notification to come. Start preparing today itself, now itself. Okay, along with us, be with us. Jacques Derrida, this is an image of Jacques Derrida. And now let's first of all see an introduction about his life and career. He was a French philosopher considered as the founder of deconstruction. There were many French philosophers and thinkers in various other theories and criticism. You can mention their names down in the comment below if you remember anybody. French philosopher and considered as the founder of deconstruction. He was born in Algeria and moved to Paris in 1946 and studied philosophy at École Normale Supérieure. Derrida's work Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences, published in the year or came up in the year 1966, marked the beginning of post-structuralism as a movement or post-structuralist deconstruction. So there is always a question whether deconstruction or post-structuralism is a continuation of structuralism. Not necessarily. We are actually taking some of the notions that Saussure put forward and some limitations of structuralism when it analyzed the bipolar structure. Okay, so post-structuralism is not necessarily a continuation of structuralism as a movement of literature. It has a lot more to do with some other concepts. Okay, so Derrida mainly in this essay, I know most of you must have learned this in their PG paper, Literary Theory and Criticism. Some of you maybe find it a little bit difficult. And his influence on contemporary thought began in 1967 with the simultaneous publication of three major works such as Speech and Phenomena, Writing and Differance, and the Of Grammatology. So these three works which are so important works of Derrida, influential work, and he began to think about contemporary thought and through these works. Of Grammatology is partially influenced by his friend and peer Levinas. So he got influenced by Levinas partially when he came up with the concepts in Of Grammatology. Who translated Of Grammatology from French to English? You can comment that in the comment section. The translator is quite famous in post-colonialism. Okay, that's a link, that's a clue. In Of Grammatology, Derrida analyzed and criticized Western philosophy beginning with the pre-Socratics to Heidegger. So he mainly analyzed and criticized Western philosophy from pre-Socratic times to Heidegger's time in Of Grammatology. He argued that Western intellectual tradition was dogged by a conceptual tradition set up between speech and writing, in which speech is always prevailed over writing. So in the Bible itself, how speech sound is important. God pronounced the word and everything created. It's like that. So in Western philosophy, Western intellectual tradition was always, it's like, the tradition always gave more importance to speech than writing. So he is actually criticizing and analyzing the situation, and he came up with many fantastic concepts. Derrida, through his deconstructionist theories, wanted to show that any and every text inevitably undermines its own claims to undermine a definite meaning. So this is what Derrida says. So usually whenever we think about deconstruction in literature, in a simple sentence, we usually say that deconstruction is reading against the text. This is not fully right, but it is somewhat right too, because deconstruction is not reading against the text, but there will be a predominant pattern or predominant meaning that visible in every other text, in every other literary piece or non-literary pieces. There will be a predominant meaning or pattern which will be so visible that whoever reading it, they can easily find out that pattern or that meaning out of that text. But there will be an undermining meanings, definite meaning. So whatever that text is telling, or whatever anything that you write or say, or any other text, any and every other text inevitably undermines or invalidate what it is saying in the text. So that opposite ideology is present in the text itself in order to invalidate that predominant theory or predominant meaning that the text is putting forward. That's how it is reading against the text. Or we are as deconstructionists, if you are looking into a text, you are actually looking at various patterns, not only one predominant pattern, but various other patterns, and you are actually removing the center from that bipolar structure of that pattern, and you are looking for play of various signs and various meanings emerging. So you are situating the entire text within another less predominant situation, and you are trying to find out meanings. So this is not that complicated. See, take the example of My Last Duchess. Usually we arrived some feminist conclusions. We will do feminist analysis of this work, but you can do historical, psychological, you can do even post-colonial theories can be applied into this poem. Okay, so in that way you will find a different kind of, see, feminism as a pattern you can, or patriarchy as a pattern, it's quite visible in that poem. It is so visible, it is so full in that poem, but you can analyze that in the various. So if you understand this poem only on the basis of feminist theories, then you are limiting the scope of that work. You are only telling and thinking about the meaning provided by the feminist pattern or the patriarchal pattern that is quite bulging in that work. But you can also inevitably contain many other types of reading about that poem, and also you can arrive at various conclusions, okay, that can literally change your view about that poem. So in that way, in the same poem, in the same work, in every other text, the opposite meaning will be there, which will undermine the definite meaning. So that's the thought that Derrida describes as a deconstructionist. Thus, the lack of meaning sabotages any attempts to form a definite conclusion within a text. So you cannot go and tell that, see, this is the sole meaning that this text is provided. This is the important or predominant meaning even this text is providing, or the definite. You cannot define a work. Okay, so it actually sabotages the meaning. The main meaning got sabotaged since there is no definite meaning. Derrida died of pancreatic cancer in Paris in 2004. Remember that. Now let's see his major concepts. The first one is speech writing. Logocentrism, roughly we can say, the most prominent opposition with which Derrida's earlier work is concerned is the between speech and writing. So he couldn't understand, or he actually unravels the concept, Western concept, in which speech was given more importance than writing, and he analyzes and he arrives that there is no particular difference between speech and writing. One we are saying, one is writing, so we will feel that there are differences, but actually there is no difference. There is no need that we give more importance to speech. And if you are giving this kind of ideology that western philosophy possessed, that is known as logocentrism. According to Derrida, thinkers as different as Plato, Rousseau, Saussure and Lévi-Strauss have all denigrated the written word and valorized speech. See, all these thinkers, they valorized, they gave more importance to speech rather than their written language, by contrast as some type of pure conduit of meaning. So they all gave more importance to these speech sound rather than something written. Their argument is that while spoken words are the symbol of mental experience, written words are the symbol of that already existing symbol. So speaking is more fundamental. It's an output, or it's a symbol of mental experience. But written words are the symbols of that already existing symbols. So there is an already existing pool of symbols. So written words actually represents those symbols. It never fully represents mental experience. And written words are just representing the spoken words symbols. That's all. As representations of speech, they are doubly derivative and doubly far away from a unity with one's own thought. So he say why speech is given more importance, because it's like written words are more far away than one's own thought. In Of Grammatology, Derrida attempts to illustrate that the structure of writing and grammatology are more important and even older than the supposedly pure structure of presence to self that is characterized by typical of speech. So speech is given more importance because it contains presence to self. Mental experiences, your psychological experiences will be there. Your self will be present in what you speak, right? But that is lacking in writing. But he says, Derrida attempts to illustrate or demonstrate how structure of writing is more important, and even how old that the structure of writing that we have in our society, that we have with us. Okay, so we suppose that speech has more pure structure. Language is for speaking, you often say. So writing is more older and important, and we suppose that speaking has a pure structure of presence of self, and that is not correct according to Derrida. He gives more importance, and he says that written structure is more older than what you speak now, the same language. Second concept by Derrida is archaic writing, refers to a more generalized notion of writing that insists that the breach that the written introduces between what is intended to be conveyed and what is actually conveyed is typical of an originary breach that afflicts everything one might wish to keep sacrosanct, including the notion of self-presence. Sacrosanct means that which is so sacred that it cannot be changed. So archaic writing is something that is referred to a more generalized notion of writing. It's referred to a more generalized notion of writing that insists, that says that the breach, when we write something, there is a breach. Written introduces between what is intended to be conveyed. So speech language is there, and we intend something to be conveyed. We represent that message through the symbols that are available in a language. So there is a breach between what is intended to be conveyed and what is actually conveyed. It's a typical of an originary breach that afflict everything one might wish to keep sacrosanct, including the notion of self-presence. So in Western philosophy, it is believed that what is spoken, it has a self-presence, presence of the self, that is got breached, okay, when something is written. That is archaic writing. So that kind of, it is true with every other kind of writing, I think, archaic writing. So next is difference. See, there is a difference from difference, the word difference to difference. A is present here. So he used difference very intentionally. The difference between the words difference and difference is quite visible when it is only written. When you pronounce these two words, it is not quite visible, the difference between the word difference and difference. Okay, so difference is an attempt to conjoin the differing and differing aspects involved in archaic writing in a term that itself plays upon the distinction between the audible and the written. See, difference itself is a word that word itself plays the distinction between the audible and the written. See, when you say this word difference, you most of you cannot understand the difference between the words difference and difference, but when it is written, these two words are two different words, and difference contains differing and differing aspects of archive literature or archive writing. Differing means it is different, you just cannot find it two words with exact two meanings. And language in a relation, the signals, the signs inside a language system, they are associated and they are related to each other in a relation of difference. One is not the same as the other. Bat is not a cat, cat is not a hat, hat is not a... No, it goes like that. We understand meanings by understanding the opposite of something. Okay, that's how we are understanding things. A differing means you just cannot arrive at ultimate signifier. So when you look for the meaning of a word, that meaning will be a pool of words. And again, when we look at another word inside that meaning, then again a pool of words. So it's like arriving at ultimate meaning is nearly impossible. So these two quality of language is combined in the word difference. Difference cannot be exhaustively defined. So if you are going to define difference, that is a mistake. You just cannot ultimately define anything because of the differing and differing quality of the language. And this is largely because of Derrida's insistence that it is neither a word nor a concept. Difference is not neither a word nor a concept, as well as the fact that the meaning of the term changes depending upon the particular context in which it is being employed. So differing and differing is there. Along with that, there are other things. So according to the context in which that word is used, a particular word is used, the meaning will be different. Take the example of the word capital. If you are using the word capital in the context of history, then that is different. The meaning got the word got a particular meaning. Capital of some city, capital of some state, or capital of some country. It is like that. And you are using capital, the word, again in economics, in relation with economics, then that got a different meaning. Capital got the meaning of some capital investment, money. And in English, what is the meaning of capital? Capital letters. So in that way, in the context, in the particular context in which a word is using, there also meaning will get changed. So you cannot ultimately define anything, especially the word difference. You cannot define it. It's neither a word nor a concept as told by Derrida. Now, the next concept by Derrida is supplement. The logic of the supplement is also an important aspect of grammatology. This supplement, the concept is there in of grammatology, and the supplement is something that allegedly, secondarily, comes to serve as an aid to something original or natural. Okay, so there is already a thing, something that is original and natural. We are using every other sign, every other words, and every other expressions that we are using as supplementing our emotions. So originally what we are feeling, we cannot show to anybody. Okay, the anger, the love that we are feeling, you can express it. So we are using a secondary or a artificial thing to supplement or replace the original or natural. Writing is itself an example of this structure. For Derrida points out, if supplementarity is a necessary indefinite process, writing is the supplement par excellence, since it proposes itself as the supplement of the supplement. Signs of a sign taking the place of a speech already significant. Another example of the supplement might be masturbation, as Derrida suggests. Ogi means of grammatology in the page 153, or even the use of birth control precautions. So supplement, masturbation is a supplement of what? Actual sexual intercourse. So it never gives the original thing, but it's a supplement. And also birth control precautions. So he says that if writing is the example of a supplement, it's a supplement of supplement. Okay, so we are using signs. Speech is already significant and taking place of a speech, and we are writing that something that is already there, then it's a supplement of supplement. Okay, so if you think about supplement, masturbation as a supplement, then you can understand this concept very, very well. Now, fifth concept is trace. Deconstruction as a strategy tries to find the most surprising contradiction in text, unravel them, and build upon this. Instead of finding the truth, the closure, or the steadfast meaning, it finds absence of presence, free play of meanings. So, trace, do remember this phrase, absence of presence, finding the absence of presence. Deconstruction is a strategy that we are going to find, that we are using to find the most surprising contradiction in a text, unravel them. Okay, build upon this. So trace is something that we are going to find the absence of presence. See, I have already told you, in a literary piece of work there will be a predominant pattern that everybody can read and understand, that the writer itself focused, or writer itself gave importance. Okay, so all other structures will be there. There will be different structures. One structure will be predominant or pivotal in a work, and many authors or many readers who are reading that, they can easily find out that pattern. It's quite visible. But there will be other patterns which are marginalized. So in a bipolar structure, there is a center and a margin. If there is a center, there will be a margin. Something will get marginalized if there is a center. Center won't allow every other meaning, right? It only allows certain meanings. All other meanings and patterns will be pushed towards the margins. So basically, we are trying to find the absence of presence. Absence of presence means there will be patterns which are visibility of that patterns will be very less if only you try to understand them by removing this center, by removing the ultimate center or ultimate. When you go beyond that center, then you can find the play of these meanings, play of the patterns, and you will find the absence of the presence. The patterns are already present there, but the center is not, the predominant pattern is not allowing that invisible patterns to come to the front. It is marginalized. So the deconstruction is about finding the absence of the presence, which will allow free play of meanings. So free play of meanings means there will be multiple meanings, ultimate number of meanings. Then you cannot define a work, you cannot arrive at an ultimate meaning, because it's a free play of meaning. Since language is involved, everything written or spoken can have free play of meanings. So whatever we are saying, whatever we are writing, there will be abundance of structures, patterns, and meanings. Reconstruction is finding about that truth, not one truth, a free play of truths. It's about finding the absence of the presence. Absent patterns are there, which are not, doesn't, absent patterns doesn't mean that it is not present. It's there, but the center is not allowing it. Center is not allowing the patterns, every other pattern, to have a visibility. So deconstruction is deconstruction is finding that absent or less visible patterns and make it present. This is the absence of, it is this absence of presence that is described as trace by Derrida. So trace is basically absence of presence that we can see in every other text. Now, these are the major works. We only discussed the 5 of them. He has came up with many other. I just picked up the important ones. Okay. Major works by Jacques Derrida: Speech and Phenomena and Other Essays on Husserl's Theory of Science, published in 1967, of Grammatology in 1967. The Structure, Sign and Play, that essay we can find in Of Grammatology only. Writing and Difference in 1967, Edmund Husserl's Origin of Geometry and Introduction, published in 1989. Aporias came up in 1993. Spectres of Marx in 1993. Monolingualism of the Other in 1998. Voice and Phenomenon in 2011, posthumous publication. Okay, so these are the works. Do pause the video and read the titles again and again so that you memorize them when you see them on the question paper. That's all about it. Meet you in the next video session. If you have any doubts, queries and questions, do mention that in the comment section, or freely WhatsApp me or call me, or you can use the Instagram ID. Do visit my website. The link to the website is there in the description box. You can use it. Let me know your impressions. If you want to join, you can join the website, join the course from the website itself, or if you want to know anything more related to the course materials and anything related to the topics that we are sharing or the facilities that we are providing for our students, you can use this number or use any of the platforms to reach out to me. Okay, meet you in the next video session. Until then, stay tuned to High Point and be happy, guys. Try for the best. Tata, bye bye. Thank you.